to have with you guys tonight, or this afternoon. Fuck, what am I saying tonight? All right, so let me just make this a little bit bigger. Remember we spoke about this last night. During the Q&A, someone actually asked this question, and this was before I saw this post from Wowhead, specifically with Ian clarifying that there will be a big bad for World of Warcraft Dragonflight. So Ian says the following: there will inevitably be a big bad in the expansion. However, just as we experienced with Mists of Pandaria, we will have to wait to find out who it is. We'll start by learning more about the threats to Dragonflight, just like we did with the Shah and Mogu on Mop. Eventually, we will find out who the threat of Dragonflight is. It will be necessary to explore, understand the world, and wait before knowing who is the main threat of the expansion. You have to understand how the story unfolds, so as not to imagine that a character comes out of nowhere. Ian, that's not bad, you know. It's definitely not a bad way of putting it. I just wish that... Okay, this is a French fucking website, never mind. It's not a bad way of putting it. I just wish that you guys would have done that with Shadowlands as well, because in Shadowlands, we knew who the bad guy was from the beginning, and we still felt like the bad guy came out of fucking nowhere. So, I really hope that this time around you guys nail it. I feel like you've done it in the past. You definitely nailed it in Mists of Pandaria, with how that bad guy came out. Now, I will say, I'm a little bit skeptical of this. Personally, I would have preferred if we had no inevitable big bad this expansion. And to be clear, what I mean by big bad is... Of course, every expansion is going to have their main villain, the villain that you kill towards the end. But in expansions like Mists of Pandaria, for example, the big bad towards the end of it was a big bad sort of localized within the sense of that expansion. I really hope that this next big bad isn't once again one of those cosmic level threats, if you guys understand what I mean. I'm tired of constantly fighting for the soul of Azeroth. I'm tired that the next enemy around the corner looks to destroy our planet, looks to destroy all of us. I miss the days of localized villains, where the villain doesn't seek to destroy Azeroth, more the villain seeks to destroy this tribe, or seeks to destroy this zone. So it's not really... that large looming threat of us, we have to save the galaxy from, you know, Optimus Prime and his, like, evil fucking Transformers that have just turned bad, and actually they're not bad, but we don't see it right now. We're gonna have to wait. Maybe we will be friends with Optimus Prime in the future, but Optimus Prime right now seems like the bad guy. You know what I mean? It's this sort of weird... like this weird convoluted story where the player base doesn't really know what the hell is going on, but at the same time we know that they want to kill the world. I'm tired of that, and I'm not saying that can't work. Of course it can work. You can absolutely tell stories like that in video games, with the caveat that it can't be all the time. And if I think back now, We've had a big bad in WoD, like a cosmic scale big bad. The Iron Horde wanted to wipe all of us out. Then it leveled up a notch, and in Legion, we had the Burning Legion that wants to not only kill all of us, but also wants to kill our planet. Then in BFA, it leveled up a little bit more, you know, where it's now the old gods, and they want to destroy all of us, and they also want to destroy the planet. Actually, they want to corrupt the planet, but if we let them, then they will destroy the universe. And then in Shadowlands, I feel like we reached peak, where, you know, now we're meeting the guy that's basically been planning all of this since Warcraft 1, and, you know, now we just have this entire story, and this guy has to be stopped because he wants to basically dominate the whole universe. If you keep doing that, if you keep running this sort of, oh my god, the big bad is here, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it reaches a point, and I feel like I'm at that point right now. I don't know about everyone. Maybe there are people who don't really care. But for me, I have reached the point now where I'm thinking, yeah, I don't care. Like, I couldn't care less about these big threats. So what I would love to see in terms of big bads this expansion, I don't think it should be Galakrond. I think there should be a risk of Galakrond returning. The problem with Galakrond, again, is he wants to consume all of Azeroth. So big bad confirmed to be big threat to Cosmos, right? So I don't think it should be Galakrond. I think Galakrond should serve as sort of that threat. We're constantly stopping people from trying to resurrect Galakrond. Even though it would be really cool to see Galakrond in the flesh, I'm a little worried that it's again going to be this massive threat. But instead, let's have enemies maybe like Azshara. You know, because Azshara is actually one of the perfect villains. Because Azshara does not wish to destroy Azeroth. She does not wish to kill all the mortal races. Azshara wishes to be queen. And she wishes to be queen over everyone. She wants to be loved by everyone. She never had any desires of destroying Azeroth. That's never been her desire. Her desire has always been power, so as to rule over Azeroth. So that's kind of a cool, like, enemy to have. I even think, yeah, Alexander, I think the Infinite Dragonflight could work as well. The problem with the Infinite Dragonflight, of course, is they also sort of kind of want to destroy everything, but at least it's more localized as well. Specifically with the Infinite Dragonflight, you immediately get the inclusion of things like Murozond to the storyline, which, you know, if my speculation is correct, and for those of you that is on YouTube, you know, is a YouTube channel member or a patron, you will know that I'm busy writing about that specifically, and you'll know in more detail what I'm writing about. I do believe that Murozond is actually going to be the big bad that we sort of activate within this expansion. Through our own actions, we are going to create Murozond, and then we're going to have to deal with Murozond. I'm still... I don't know. Just, I was really hoping for an expansion that doesn't have an inevitable big bad. Because, well, I guess that's not the issue as long as they keep it localized. As long as this next big bad isn't like the big bad, you know, the boogeyman that's going to kill everyone. Because I'm really... I love the fact that in Dragonflight, we're going back to the basics. We're not attempting massive systems that is convoluted and creates a whole convoluted style of gaining power and progression. I really enjoy the fact that in Dragon Isles, it seems like the world becomes the vehicle through which the story is told once again. So the world becomes incredibly important. I told you guys last night about the team that Blizzard now have, that sort of their main focus is to create world content, open world content, jumping puzzles and flight puzzles and races and stuff like that. You know, that's their job now, is to make sure that the outer world is a fun place to be in. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I wish the story, I really hope that the story would follow suit. Back to basics, back to what made World of Warcraft popular in the first place. You don't always need a big bad. Big bads can work really well in the form of Sargeras. So someone like Sargeras, I feel like, was always the best big bad you could have. Because Sargeras was always there. And you know that he was always pulling strings behind the scenes. But in terms of fighting him, you never actually went up against Sargeras. You would always fight the sort of inevitable outpour from the things that Sargeras does. If that makes sense to you guys. And I would love to see that. Anyways, let's see what the rest of this is, because it does seem like they have more quotes here. In the Dragonflight Deep Dive posted by Blizzard, it mentioned that, along with the awakening of the Dragon Isles, old enemies have awakened as well. An opportunity to reclaim their legacy and return once more as the protectors of Azeroth lays before the dragons, and they'll need the help of the heroes of Azeroth to face the challenges of this reawakening. The land has not been peacefully awaiting their return. Old enemies have awakened as well, and will need to be confronted and overcome if the flights are to make it their home once more. What could be cool would be each Dragonflight have their own big bad. I think that could work. I mean, that could almost inevitably work, but that would mean some of those enemies will take care of in dungeons and some of those enemies will take care of in raids. I think Blizzard will go down that road. Can you guys just look at, like, I know this is just art, right? I know this is just art, but look at the size of Galakrond versus the size of the other dragons. Like, this thing was a fucking beast, dude. I won't lie, it would be cool to see Galakrond in the flesh. Like, this dragon, this monstrosity of a dragon. Can you imagine this guy being one of the bosses in a raid? Because he is humongous. Like, normal dragons are large. He's the largest dragon you've ever faced. So yeah, I would enjoy this. I still think they're a little bit wrong about... Okay, so they say Galakrond is dead. So the old gods presume to be dead. We know that the old gods... Well, we know that the 4 old gods that we fought is dead. We just don't quite know how death for old gods would specifically work, right? We know that Deathwing is dead. Okay. I'm following what they say here. Mostly defeated, but some survive. The Twilight Dragonflight, I think, would be so... They could still be a decent enemy. They could have used a lot of this time to basically repopulate and regrow their numbers. So it is possible that the Twilight Dragonflight, created by Syntheria, the prime consort of Deathwing, the Twilight Dragonflight infused eggs stolen from other dragonflights with dark magic. Though Syntheria believed the idea was her own, it was put into her mind by the old gods. Both Deathwing and the Twilight Dragonflight were officially defeated at the end of Cataclysm. However, it would not be the last we would see of this Dragonflight. They played a major role in battle for Azeroth, especially during the visions of N'Zoth. However, the Twilight Dragonflight isn't the only distorted Dragonflight associated with the old gods. Murozond... Okay, so we've spoken about Murozond and the Infinite Dragonflight already in this video. I truly believe that Murozond and the Infinite Dragonflight is going to play a massive part in this story, because Murozond's story is so uniquely, fascinatingly convoluted that it could be a really fun story to kind of dive into. So I'm really looking forward to that. And for those of you that don't know, the story of Murozond, Murozond is actually Nosdormu, but there is a prophecy that states that Nosdormu will die. And then once Nosdormu is about to die, he is going to fight for his life. So he's not going to accept the terms of his defeat. And in not accepting the terms of his defeat, he will ultimately become Murozond. And Murozond created the Infinite Dragonflight in a different timeline. So the Infinite Dragonflight is a thing, even though Nosdormu in our timeline is still Nosdormu and haven't yet become Murozond, but Nosdormu is constantly struggling with like sanity and keeping his own sanity. So it's an interesting story, Murozond and the Infinite Dragonflight, and like I said, it's this uniquely, fascinatingly convoluted story because you are dealing with timelines, you're dealing with time travel, you're dealing with sort of kill him once, he might come back again somewhere else. So there's a unique amount of storytelling that can be done there that I think could be really cool within the Dragonflight expansion. I feel like they've left out a number of enemies here. Azshara could be an enemy that could almost absolutely return. Especially since the last time we saw Azshara, she claimed that she was going to claim the ultimate throne of power. Whatever the hell that might be. And can you think of a better place for that throne of power to be than on Azeroth? Like, seriously, can anyone? So yeah, I'm very excited to discover who this ultimate big bad guy is going to be. I love the fact that Blizzard is playing this sort of, we're not going to tell you yet, you'll have to keep playing the game and see as the story unfolds. Maybe that works really well for them this time around. The one real request I would have for Blizzard that I know that they're never going to listen to is, can we please remove the story from beta, alpha, and PTR. Like, just seriously, can we not have the story from beta, or the story of World of Warcraft ruined, even before the game is out? That would be my ultimate wish, is just stop putting the fucking story in the PTR. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the PTR does so much damage to any sort of hype. Because by the time the game comes out, the hype is gone. You know, we've known for months now that this is the inevitable story. So you are effectively just playing to see the story as you already know it. So yeah, I would really love if Blizzard could just do that. You know? Anyway, I don't know if they will.